Let me know when you're ready.
Yep. Well,
And welcome to World of Women podcast from Zita's Healthy Beginnings. As you always know, that this podcast is brought to you every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we are so glad to our friends and those who are helping us to bring this to you. And this is the Disability Channel that is in collaboration with Transform You Network and PAC. So we are so thankful. They have been very generous to us, and we know the more they give to us, the more we give to you guys. So everyone takes to pay it forward, and that's what life should be. And so today, I hope everyone knows that we are celebrating the World Refugee. Here in the United States, people are really lucky to say that the citizens of the United States are really pretty lucky that they have not experienced what it means to be a refugee, especially a refugee in your own land. I know that some people maybe with disaster, natural disaster, it can happen that people are being displaced, momentarily. It's very different from being a refugee. I have never had that experience myself, thank goodness, because when the war happened in my country, I wasn't there then. So, but people were refugees, people were killed, and we find refugees happening when there's war, when there's natural disaster, but pretty much when there is war. And our global community is experiencing seriously, refugees, influx of refugees, especially to the United States. And I don't know whether we have stopped and asked ourselves, why are people being displaced? Why are people becoming increasingly refugees? Some in their own country, others in other people's countries. Why is that? Why are people displaced? I believe that the God that called all of us, created all of us, created us for a purpose. And we were all geographically placed to thrive, to increase and multiply. So why are we having many people being forced to leave their own country, to leave their fatherland and everything that they own and they know, to uproot them to another place, another country, another continent altogether? It is very painful. And it is very painful to me because I have worked as a missionary in countries where people have lived as refugees for years and years and years. Take, for example, in Kenya. Kenyans have really struggled in their own country, but have also hosted tons of refugees from within both Western, Eastern, Southern Africa. Due to war, people are getting into all these countries, and some of those countries are really small. They are really poor. They can't even afford for their own people, not to talk of being forced to, take care of other people. And what also concerns me, think of Angola, think of Congo. These are all areas where people have suffered, been traumatized because they have been displaced. Some people forever. Some people died in the whole process of trying to find a refugee in other countries or continents. And what really makes me so upset about this whole thing is when people are displaced, guess who suffers? Just guess who suffers? Women and children. And the question is, why? And these are the future of any country, any continent. Yet we're experiencing this. Why is there no solution to this situation? And at the same time, it's so interesting. I have Stephanie here today who founded a mutual network that is focusing on doing the opposite of what war does to us. And I'm so excited that we have her today talking to us about the essence of being together, of living in solidarity, of being your friend, your brothers, your sisters' keeper, of living a better life, better community. And none of us can do it by themselves. And so we are so happy that Stephanie's here today to talk to us, show us the right way to live, because that's the only way that can bring peace, joy, justice, and peace. So Stephanie, come on there, tell us who you are, where you're operating from, and share those nice stuff you're doing there.
I absolutely love how you said that. What an honor to have it presented that way. That's beautiful. So yes, I'm here in my home in Madison, Wisconsin right now, and I'm a founder of Humans United and Mutual Aid Networks. And we started using the term mutual aid network before it caught on recently with disaster relief. So we mean something a bit different, but we recognize that, or something expanded. But we recognize that mutual aid networks are a thing that's been embedded throughout time and space in every living system. It's certainly nothing that we've invented. Our form of mutual aid networks, what we've done is we have learned about different ways that people have shared and exchanged in different times and places, different cultures right now. And we have put together a picture. We've learned about a number of tools that I'll describe, and hopefully I'll do that fairly briefly and clearly, but we learned about a number of tools, including mutual credit, us just exchanging credit back and forth with each other, the tried and true sharing, which we really want to reemphasize and really build a culture around more and more. And then some other things that are a little more closely tied to money, like other kinds of mutual credit that you can use in businesses. And then just practices of pooling money, because sometimes you need dollars or euros or your national currency for an energy bill or health insurance if you're here, or a variety of things. And we are working on building on and adopting a practice that's been common in tons of communities throughout time, but especially immigrant communities, where people put their money together. So everybody who had a little bit can pass on a larger sum to one person and get it paid back to them. So we're doing that too. We call it a common fund, but we just figured that by connecting a few tools like those with some practice and some mutual support in using them, adopting them, seeing how we can apply them to our dreams, how we can apply them to our local business community or our arts community or social services. We've just connected those things up in a way that we can really make things happen, meet needs of people and projects more effectively. And the thing mostly, for me, the most important thing about it is each local network of sharing and exchange. So I started a time bank here in 2005, and that's where we exchange time instead of money. No one puts a price on their time, and everyone's time is valued equally. And we treat it as exactly as abundant as it needs to be. So if I break my leg and join a time bank or now a mutual aid network because I need meals because I have a broken leg and I can't do anything right now, that's fine. Everyone is happy to help because we're based on the principle, we're based on core principles. And we are explicitly a network supporting each other. We're explicitly deciding to do that. And I'll share a little bit more about the system as we go, but using the time exchange and having the common fund to support people's monetary needs and creating shared things, like we're doing a shared gardens project right now where we share in the work and we're going to share in the fruits of our labor. But as we build that practice more, it builds those muscles. It also starts to displace people's need to go participate in destructive jobs. because they can meet more of their needs through community work. They can meet more of their needs through things that aren't dollars, that are credits in their community, but then they can access the dollars when they need them and they know they have a safety net there. Free people up to do more of what they love to do. And a lot of people will be able to choose to take care of their family members, to take care of their baby, to take care of their friends when they're sick or develop a disability, and to be able to learn the skills they want to learn all the things that they wanted to learn, teach each other. We see that happening in the time banking world and in the mutual aid network by putting in the other pieces. We're really looking to create enough support and enough structure and enough reliability that people see their way to doing that as more of life. And then when you mentioned solidarity, this is the key, because we're building networks of real trust locally based on meeting needs with joy and love. And it does help lift people up to their best behavior, their highest and best use. People, I feel, live up or down to expectations of them often. And you're expected to live up to expectations. No one's anonymous in a mutual aid network or a time bank. Everyone's equating the care they give with care that they would receive. And then we also build that solidarity across locations. I know you now, I know Emily now, I know people in Hull, South Africa, Kenya, Slovenia, France, Costa Rica. We have sister sites in all those places, and everyone's doing really cool stuff. Actually, I wanted to share with you some of what the Hull mutual aid site does some really cool things with their refugee community. A lot of refugees come to Hull, and the Hull mutual aid network has gotten really good at hosting food events where they get all the food from farmers and local people. They don't pay any money for the food. People earn hours to throw a big feast. Everyone eats together, learns about each other, and they've started hosting these in areas where a lot of refugees are living. So the people who are refugees can be part of creating the meal together, can share their culture, their cooking, and have this opportunity. And actually, I learned in this way. So this is another way that the solidarity feeds a better world, is because we know each other, because we talk about our project. I learned a lot more about conditions of refugees in the UK. And I learned that when refugees go there, a lot of times they get sort of warehoused, like in these giant complexes, and aren't allowed to cook, as one of the details that I learned. So that's another thing. Like here, we have a really strong connection with our Occupy Madison community, which has started during Occupy Wall Street and really evolved on its own to become mostly people who were unhoused and like really organized to become housed. So we have a couple Occupy Madison communities of tiny houses and tinier houses, like little temporary Conestoga huts. And so we do some regular things there. We have a neighborhood peace building process, and the connections between community members happen naturally based on someone has a need, someone has an offer, we make a match, we get to know each other. And since I started the Time Bank through now with the Mutual Aid Network, it's the most powerful thing and can't be replaced to have people meet each other while in different circumstances and get to really understand each other as humans and see what you have in common. I remember in the beginning of the Time Bank, woman who had started as a lived a little bit older than me, and lived had lived in a more middle class circumstance, was really surprised that one of the people she'd been interacting with regularly turned out to not have housing, and it completely changed everything about what her preconceived notions were of it, because she realized that it was hard for her to believe this young woman who she was relating to so well wasn't housed, because she was used to, even though she didn't mean to do it, she was used to thinking of people who aren't housed as like a type of person that who wouldn't be like her, who she wouldn't relate to. So anyhow, that was a long description, but we are like groups of people doing things the way people used to do when we had intact extended villages, when there are intact or extended families, and when there are villages that are intact. So what we're doing in this version of mutual aid networks, we're a type of co-op that uses these things. So we're just aiming to have some more structure so people have clear rights and responsibilities, that we're able to do these things for each other and count on it, and also know what's expected of us, have ownership, have governance in the system. For me, it's a way that we build a bridge from where this culture, like the dominant Western culture that's very based on going out and getting money to pay for everything that you do. So I'm looking to build a bridge between that culture and back towards something that looks like what people used to know. I think that this is a reason it's an easy sell. When people join a time bank, for example, or join a mutual aid network, or join a babysitting co-op, I think that it's a very common experience for people to feel at home, and people to feel it feels comforting, even if you don't think you need it. And like for me, starting participating in the time bank, it was shocking to me how much it changed me, because I didn't know I had that much to change. I didn't know there was that much room. I had already chosen to start a time bank. Like, obviously I was predisposed, but then doing time banking and engaging with people in this community way as equals in an economic setting felt so different, and just changed my perspective in ways I wouldn't have expected. I'll throw in a little bit about care and health and women in particular, women's work. So I say it in a tongue-in-cheek way. We use the term mutual aid network partly because we liked that the initials are the man, and we want to be the man, because people in this country go and work for the man and tend to not like that. And so we want to become the man, displacing it and valuing all kinds of work. You do exactly what you want to do, and you're well supported. And but I don't care if people use the term man, and sometimes people don't like it. So yeah, we have our actual larger co-op is the Wisconsin Mutual Aid Network, the women. There's a wellness-oriented mutual aid network. It's one of the reasons we started calling ourselves the Humans United in Mutual Aid Networks. And we want to create the man that values women's work, and all those things that have been considered women's work, which Edgar Kahn, the founder of time banking, always referred to it as the core economy, which is the essential parts of the economy, which is the caregiving, creativity, civic engagement, and community work. Nothing happens without those. And using money to catalyze those things. First of all, the people who run the money don't seem to want to. But second, the money that we use is competitive by nature. So in my view, putting in something like time banking and sharing and other forms of mutual aid to take that part of life, the cultural and care part, back out of the commodity piece of the marketplace, but find ways to catalyze and reward it in friendlier ways that have better dynamics. So with time banking and mutual credit, you make a credit anytime if I want to have you do something for me, I invent the credit. I go -1 in my account, you go +1 in your account, and we just go back and forth. It's that simple. It's just a way to track. You need work done, I can do that work. We're going to track it. Then it makes it easier for me to ask for help when I need it. And having the catalog there makes it easy to find. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing this mutual aid network. And you said now it's called the Human Aid Network. I think that is better because that's inclusive.
Yes.
You know, And yeah, and actually, okay, you're sharing out your information here so people can, our audience can look at it, and please explore. If you have any questions, either post it here or email it to her, or reach out to me or Emily or Kat, and we will surely forward it to Stephanie. So Stephanie, it looks like this is something you've been committed for a long time, trying to pull together. And we know dealing with the humans is not the same as dealing with structures. So can you share with us how that, the challenges, the successes, and what you hope to, do to make it better, and how you have handled the challenges? Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would say the challenges at the core have boiled down to challenges in human communications in a variety of ways. One is just getting in touch with people, having people call each other back, having, being able to have people take a thing and run with it, being able to pull together groups of people to, do a thing consistently, like those basic challenges that come up anytime that you're organizing something. And because we are about like creating a system, creating a referral system so people can find each other, they can exchange the hours, there are technical barriers to that. So I meant to finish this. I tend to like start a sentence and then go in a different direction. But when I was talking about taking like tried and true things like pooling money and exchanging time and pooling resources, I meant to finish that up by saying, and connecting it with newer technologies, newer ways to communicate with people across the globe, newer understandings of emergent, like how to have an emergent process with a group and create a lot of leadership within a group, and good governance and all that stuff. So just learning about and adopting some of those things has been challenging. I mean, there's just so much to learn. I was talking about in a given network, there are so many different skills that need to be brought to bear. Like when I started our time bank in 2004, we launched in 2005, and I started it because I was really compelled by the displacing of this kind of funding structure that we labor under right now. But to start the time bank, I had to become a nonprofit. I had to learn how to do that. I had to learn how to do fundraising and all that stuff, or put together a team. And as you likely know, and anyone who does organizing that didn't start off rich, if you don't have money to pay a team, you really have to be scrappy. So fortunately, I was starting a time bank, which is inventing a way to, compensate people. But that's another thing about a mutual credit system, is it's a very circular situation. You need to have the right variety. You need to have enough variety of offers and needs to complement each other to make it flow. So it's tricky. Those are some things that are inherent in it. That it's learning a new habit, and that also people have the competition of all that they need to do in the money society. So many people who have money feel time poor. They'll describe it as time poor. Many people who don't have money feel really pressed to be doing things to get them money. So it's tricky, because even though I know that hours can and do, and probably in the future will much more demonstrably have as good a value as dollars, even though I know that, and I know it's possible, a lot of times people have to experience it before they can really believe it. But you have to get enough of a network for people to have that experience. And some of the ways that we've been rising to the challenge, and I do think this is a moment, I think that a moment is ripe, and I want to make sure that I invite you all to the Solidarity Summit this weekend, because we're calling it Spreading Like Wildflowers. what I want to see in my world is one of these situations, these desert landscapes where it only rains like once every few years, a tiny bit. And then when it does, it's covered in flowers. Have you ever seen that? I believe this is our moment. I think it's time for the rain, pretty much. But people have been working toward this for a long time. The thing that has made all the difference in the world is relationships. The people I've been working with. So we are using some new tech stuff. We've been working through bugs. We've been cleaning it up, hooking them together. We still have work to do, but it's functioning now. It's functioning better this week than it was last week, better than the week before. And all those people that I'm working with that on, Cyril from France, I'm bad at pronouncing her name, but I met her 10 or 13 years ago, and she has the same interest. We toured around Paris as the economistresses and did workshops on mutual credit, and we just did that because we wanted to, and we've been working together ever since. She was a coder, so she programmed our last software and has been helping put together what we need for our new software. So we don't have money. A lot of people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to put together software. We haven't done that. We put in a ton of work. We have solid, long-standing relationships with people. Matthew in the UK helped us make our software for an earlier local currency, and he's the one who programmed the marketplace we're just switching to now. He helps us all the time. We have a new partner, about a year's little old or more than a year partner, Goras, to a lot of you have met in Slovenia, who's really like connecting us with like the a lot of the sort of industrial engineering, corporate and like business perspective, because we want to hack business and pull it into the more cooperative caring world too, by providing the right kinds of tools and the right kinds of incentives. We're funding things with this reciprocity loop model where everybody wins. An end user who's not just, but an end user who pays a reasonable amount to use the marketplace and use some of the collaboration tools, they also count, like they also get a return. We price it in a way that makes a bit of money that covers the needs, and everybody gets a return, and it takes away the adversarial piece. It takes away the competition. It creates a situation where users have an interest also in making sure the product's good for them, and then making sure it's something they want to share with their friends. The product itself is geared to making it easier, and then over time easy for people to create the world they want to and have it be their job. And I started to say about care specifically, we're working to emulate one of our partner sites in creating care teams. So our partner site in Pennsylvania had a beautiful model based in a hospital where people who were using the hospital a lot, so they had major health needs, they created care teams around them. So people earned hours to help them get rides to the doctor, get food, get medicine, and they and their families would pay back in ways that connected them more fully with the community. So we're going to do that here. And it's just an example. We'll be able to do that as a co-op so people can have that be a meaningful part of their livelihood, so people can afford to step into that role.
Wow. This is awesome. The first time I got I found you guys, it really reminded me everything that I grew up with. I grew up in a small village where everybody knows everybody else. Your families, everybody, because we fetched our water from the same stream. We went to common church. We had a common flea market. We went to the same school. So it's like everything was, and it was a big village. It wasn't like a small village. It was a big village. But one thing that stood out was that solidarity, when to the point that, because education in my country is you're going to have to pay for it. Your parents will pay for it. If they can't pay for your education, then sorry, you can't have it. So, but at that, when we were growing up, what my people did was the chief of the place would say, because we used to have a lot of palm fruits, that produce oil. So, and it's seasonal. So it's like every quarterly. So what they did was they make sure that for the quarter, everybody would just hold off, from going to harvest it. Then at some point, they would say, okay, it's ready. So the whole village will come out, go harvest it, do everything, sell the oil, use the money to pay for every single child, so that whether your parents can afford it or not, everybody got the chance to go to school. And that was the kind of background I got. And when I started traveling the world as a missionary, I was taught differently. And it really touched me to my core. And I'm like, how come this value? Because while I was in my little village, I thought the whole world practiced the same thing. But then when I started traveling, I noticed that no, majority of the world, in fact, don't care about it. They don't even know what we're talking about. So when I found you guys sometime last year, I'm like, wow. So there is still, we still have some group of people, no matter how tiny they are, who are still, holding this value. Because honestly, that is what stops war. That is what makes people prosper. That is what creates, that is what really shapes relationships. And we found out that a lot of people are more into entrepreneurship, and nothing wrong about that. But when you are doing it to the detriment of others, that's when it becomes a sin. You know what I mean? Because we're all created equal in the sense that we have access to whatever it is, whether it's healthcare, whether it's banking, economy, whatever it is. We should all get access to whatever it is that we've been blessed with, and I'm sure that's what you and your people are trying to do. I was attending the meetings, but then when my school and everything else got the way, I couldn't. But I'm coming back because now I've graduated. I'm going to go back to what makes, it means a lot to me, makes sense to me. And that's the only way we can find peace. So I am going to ask you to please tell those of us that are still wondering, what is really Stephanie wasting her time, all this energy, trying to do stuff she knows is no longer possible? Tell them why they should do that.
Well, I know that it's way more fun, that it's much more enjoyable to live this way. And I know that people feel that way. And I do think that the majority of people want life to be more this way. When I looked at how I would spend my time if I had all my needs met, it's not that different from what I'm doing now, but it's in totally different proportions. I would play much more music. I would do more things in my neighborhood. I would do way less administering organizations. And this is the thing, is for us to realize we have the power. We create the economy. It's something we do, even though it feels like it's done to us, because it often is, but that we have more economic power than we realize, because it's not in dollars. It's in relationships. If we realize what dollars actually do, put them in their place, which could be, and it used to be the beginning of market economy and the beginning of currency exchange, it occupied a tiny place, and it was put in place so states could dominate people. That just is the history of it. But it used to still only be used in very small places. We need to put it back in its place and when I realized how the economy worked and where it was driving me, I felt personally robbed, and I feel everyone is personally robbed. We're personally robbed of a beautiful, vibrant future because they're killing our planet. Every piece of it, we're personally robbed of time with friends and family. So let's be done with that. So we talk about creating the opportunity for everyone to live their highest and best life while they're here on this earth for this short time. Let's exercise that right. And oh yeah, a woman who I admire very much told me that she did a vision quest a few years ago. Her name is Pat McCabe, and I really recommend checking out her work. And Shining is another name. And she said that a spirit came and said, women today need to speak with the authority of the mother. And so when I'm feeling shy or feeling like intimidated by the scope of like the kind of work we're trying to do, or feel like, you know, I'm certainly state very large ambitions. We say we want to create the economy for the 100%, and we mean it. But if I start to feel shy about that, or, you know, like any aspect of it, I remember this about women need to speak with the authority of the mother. I know,
or even intimidated.
Yeah, so that's what keeps me going. And
go ahead.
And everybody is so great. It's so inspiring to like, it can be very depressing to see what's happening in the world. And every time we have a meeting to do anything, I'm completely inspired and just love that people keep coming back together for this. And I always meet the best people when I travel, and it's a wonderful way to live. So, I want to invite everyone to be part of it. And we have a solidarity summit this weekend. So Saturday, it's fun. Join for some online karaoke. Emily will give a little overview of the humans at the beginning, and then people will sing. So you're more than welcome to come on Saturday. And then Sunday, from noon to 2 Central Time, 1 to 3 Eastern, will be like a showcase of what it means to be a member, how it's working, what different sister sites are doing, how you can connect. We'll aim to have an action oriented, so you can plug in if you want to. We can connect you for future action, or you can just be there to check it out. So, and that information is on the website. There's a sidebar that gives the post with the details.
Good. Yeah, great. And we will also share it on our, LinkedIn and Facebook and all of the, places, social media, because I know that that's one way, of really propagating this. And I'm so happy that you have taken this to heart and you're really making it work. And I know that other people are joining you, and we're going to really rally around this and support you, because what I see, like you said, majority of people would really love to do this and really have to enjoy their own life, because there's too much stress going on in our world, and life is too short. I'm going to let Hannah speak. Hannah, unmute yourself. You raise your hand and please talk to us. You're still muted. Yeah.
Linda, you're so inspirational, really. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm a Rotarian. You've heard of Rotary?
Mm-hmm.
I've been a Rotarian for almost 30 years. And I hope that you have reached out to Rotary and to have you done this?
It's been a long time, so I appreciate the suggestion, because I did with the time bank actually. And actually the Rotary they were considering giving a grant that would help me go to Ukraine at the time and help set up time banks in health centers around the exclusionary zone around Chernobyl. So it was a really, really interesting possibility that I think of all the time. It didn't end up happening, but that was the connection. And thank you for the reminders. I tend to forget whole swaths of outreach we should be doing.
Yeah, Rotary. I mean, they have their shelter box programs, and we have a foundation. We give money, so I hope you can reach out to Rotary, because we're forgiving. We're for giving. That's what you're all about. And I have your website, and I wish you could come and speak. Do you speak? before groups?
Mhm. Yeah, where are you?
Well, I'm in the New York area.
Mhm. We do tours. I'm hoping that we're going to do one in Europe in September, but I'm not sure yet. But we did we plan to do this more in 2019, shortly before COVID. We did a whole thing called the Solidarity Sprint, and we want to get back to it. But I had our partner, one from UK and one from New Zealand. The three of us traveled around the country. We went several places in New York, so it was like a shared learning journey. Yeah, it was really great. We did work projects with people, did some like organizing things. So yes, absolutely.
Do you have any groups in it? Like I'm in the Mid-Hudson Valley of New York State. I'm not in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any groups nearby or?
Not yet. I was in a fellowship with someone from that area, but yeah, that's part of what we're aiming for with this Dreamers membership. Oh, I mentioned it before we started, but we're this Solidarity Summit is a really good place to check out what's happening, and you might find some people in your area. And you're welcome to invite friends. But one of the kinds of memberships that has emerged that I'm excited about, so you can be a regular member in our marketplace and use it how you want. You can also become a Dreamer level member and have a more regular commitment of time and energy and money back and forth. And we'll like hold people's hand to start a thing. So like do the kind of visioning exercise we do, have people help lead it online, like get people comfortable doing some of the things, do some things as a group so we can kind of host it on Zoom, but you can have people in the room, provide materials. Yeah, I really feel like if you can find one or two other people who want it to happen, it's pretty easy to find the group that you want. But someone will have to like choose to be a steward of it. But it doesn't necessarily have to be you. You might find the steward.
Right. There must be local Rotary groups in your area. Yeah.
Oh, yes, there are.
That's great. And I mean, if you're ever in we're in Goshen, New York.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, great. That would be great. Yeah, we schedule the tours around who wants us to come and who wants to host something. So, and people can host, like I've had times where we meet with one person and a friend and explore what they're thinking of, up to someone does a whole conference, so it just like really depends on the stage people are at with and what their community is like. Yeah. It's and the other thing that we really want to do. So like I said, we plan to start doing this again. We got interrupted by the pandemic, but the aim is always to have some people come along for a few stops too. So you can meet some of the people an hour away, 2 hours away if you want to.
That's great. I'm going to try to go. Well, I can go to the summit on Sunday. Great. I got the information. Thank you very much, Stephanie.
Great. It'll be great to see you there.
You're making a difference in this world.
Thanks.
Yes.
So
absolutely. Yes, she is. This is very important, and for me, no matter how small, progress, it is still progress, it is still success, because one thing that we need in our world today is a few people who really think alike, who want to, help other people, paying it forward. That is really what we need. And we don't get a whole lot of people doing that because one, they're all busy, really live life to the full. And honestly, like you said, if money is not a problem, most of us will really be embarking in this whole, project. But because we know that this society is different. It's a different society, and we are kind of caged in this society that if you want to live otherwise, you're going to go that extra mile, to do something. And I'm glad that you're doing it and other people are following suit and doing it. So thank you so much for coming and speaking to us. And we hope to, have you in the future to give us some updates on how this is going. And this is one thing I would like to embrace, even with people outside the United States, as I've indicated before, And I always believe that women, and busy women for that matter, they make things happen, So
Yes.
Here we are. We all each have our own commitments, but we are making sure that other people are taken care of. And that's what it takes, to build community, build family, and support our global world. So, yeah, thanks a lot for coming. And I don't know if Emily has something to say, to add. Emily, you have something to add to this conversation?
Yeah, Hannah, we can keep in touch with you about being out in New York. Or Stephanie, do we have the Pennsylvania group still going?
Yep.
Oh,
Because Zita's in Pennsylvania.
yeah, I'm not that far from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's true.
Not that far, I'm
Right.
I don't think so. I mean, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, we can get, like I said, I have fallen off the track for a little bit, but
I can't hear. No. I don't know what happened.
now I am back.
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
You just locked up. But
Can
you're
you
back.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Cutting out a little bit there.
Yeah,
but-
that's network. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so I'm just hoping that we all can continue to work together, continue to support each other, and move this humanitarian work forward, in any way and every way we find ourselves, and letting other people understand the essence of life, because it looks like we're all missing it now. And that's why we're all suffering, unless people are come back to the root, to what really matters in life, that suffering is going to continue. And I'm really sad to know that that's why we're having a lot of what we're having today, of the influx of refugees. People are being displaced. People are not even allowed to exercise their freedom, their birthright. And then what you see as a result is we deal with situations like this. We don't need to celebrate any day of World Refugee Day. We don't need that. If people are being allowed to stay where they are, this is all man-made. And let's just keep, holding each other's hand. And someday this whole situation will be resolved. And we created it. Hopefully we will be the ones to resolve it.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You do, Zita. Wait a minute.
Thank you, Hannah. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your support.
You're always invited to Goshen Rotary. We're not that far. You're always invited.
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
Well-
we'll coordinate it. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you all. And as a reminder, I said we're here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And come join us if you have any, useful information, message. Please come join us. And until next week, Tuesday, stay safe and be blessed. Thank you all for coming.
Bye.